I also took this subject too literally, so I thought it was about techno-shamanism and all of that. I'm glad there was one of, so mine is also a bit about that subject. It's not the kind of presentation I give normally. I don't normally talk a lot about myself, but this is really about the search for a meaningful life. Basically, you know, how I encounter different things. So, where are the pictures?
I'm going to give you 30 seconds for each.
All right.
Right?
30 seconds for each. So, yeah, maybe. I don't have so many actually, so I will be short. So, so the first slide is, you might find it interesting, but everything after that is downhill, you will see. So basically, I started as a very unhappy young man, very shy, not in touch with my body, couldn't deal with girls. Well, still I can't do it now, so I don't know when it's coming. But anyway, it's the first, yes, the orgasm at Trump. So, so of course what I had to do is, and I was very secular, I was a Marxist, so you know I couldn't go into spiritual things. So luckily I found, my first guru was Wilhelm Reich, and I joined the neo-Reichian community. I'm glad nobody's tweeting because I have to say something that's not right. So normally you want to change the fucking world, and Wilhelm Reich is about changing the world fucking, right? So, so it's basically the idea that we have our emotions are not flowing, and then we have to get them loose, and the libido flows. And after that, I went into the human potential. Basically, I did almost everything there was to do in the 70s: Gestalt therapy, primal scream, bioenergy, seminars, and basically, you know, all these things. Well, that's good. That's way too fast. So basically, the message of the West is you are your emotions, you are your body, and so you learn to identify with all the aspects that you may not expect in yourself. Of course, when you do these very heavy, intense experiences, you get trances, and so you get interested in spirituality. So the phase after that was basically the Eastern phase. So you look for Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, and this is a bit, this goes way too fast. So basically the East is the opposite, right? You have to learn, I am not this, I am not that, I am not my body, I am not my emotion, right? So it's a bit confusing at first. But the problem with the East is the hierarchical structures of spirituality. All these gurus say, you know, follow me and then you're enlightened. And of course there's sex, there's power, there's money, there's all the ugly things, so I call them scumbag gurus now. And so I want to look to the Eastern esoteric, Western esoteric traditions after that. Because basically the Western esoteric traditions are organized as guilds, right? So it's a bit hierarchical, but you are equal in the different phases. And so I did alchemy, I was a Rosicrucian, I was a Mason, I was a Templar, and a few more things. So basically, I chose this picture because this was for me kind of a deep encounter. This was a Gnostic dualist tradition, and basically the message is this world is totally bad. This is Jehovah is a bad God, and the true God is somewhere else, right? So this was for me a very difficult thing to deal with because you have to learn to hate this world, and I couldn't. I just couldn't do that. So this was for me a very difficult period. So this I'm just showing. Oh, that's very fast. Okay, so William James, very interesting. He says there's two kinds of people: once born and twice born, right? So if you are once born, you're born happy and everything looks okay. But if you are not once born, you say, what am I doing here? What is this world? So something is wrong, right? And so usually these people, they need to be born again. Not like evangelicals necessarily, but in some kind of way, you need to find this moment where you can really change. And so basically, one of the phases that people in spirituality talk about is the dark night of the soul, right? You really have to go very deep and dark. And then when you cannot go deeper, then suddenly something happens and you're born again, basically. So this happened to me around when I was 42, when the love of my life dumped me. My father died, my mother got Alzheimer's, I discovered people stealing money from my company. I made a movie, and the movie, there was a fight. I got a fight with my guru. So everything went wrong during that year. And basically what I did then is, when you discover that there's just that darkness, and then what do? Well, basically for me it was this, right? I'm the one giving meaning to my life. There's nobody else going to do it for me. And so that's when I started doing my current life. So I started trying to find a point of leverage to change the society. And I reintegrated, if you like, my original pulsion, because I told you I was a Marxist, right? But the world didn't change when I was 17 to 23. So that's why I did all the rest, because if you can't change the world, you have to change yourself, right? There's no other way. But when you do this, so when you dream, it doesn't work, what happens to you? Well, you're depressed for the rest of your life. Not maybe consciously, but that kind of energy that you have to change the world, and you're not using it because you think it's not possible, it's something that doesn't work for you, right? So when I was 42, somehow I succeeded in bringing it back into myself and saying, I don't care if it will work, but I have to do this. I'm just somebody who's here to change the world. And so that's when I started doing the P2P work. And some of you know what I'm doing, most of you probably not. But if you're interested, look at p2pfoundation.net. It's about really recreating your life, the economy, politics, religion, through horizontal relationships to free and equal horizontal relationships, starting from your own value system, what feels good to you, and from there you change more and more aspects of your life. Okay, now it's much more exciting.